What's up, everybody? John Arapoli here with my MMA news, and today's guest will be fighting Nikolas Motta at UFC Vegas 48 this weekend. Actually, that fight is. I'm pleased to be joined by the UFC's leader in most career fights, Jim Miller. Jim, thanks for being here today, man. I appreciate it. I know you're coming back from therapy right now, headed back home. You have a flight to get to and everything else coming up here in the week, so thanks for making this time to be here.
No problem. My pleasure.
So let's start getting into things here. Fight camp's now officially wrapped up. It's fight week now. Just how are you feeling, and how did camp go as you prepared for this fight?
Feel good, ready to go. Everything's been coming together, and it's same old, basically. So this isn't my first rodeo. So we've we did what pretty much we always do, and got ready, and I'm ready to head out to Vegas tomorrow and go into another fight week and get locked in a hotel and not really do much. So but I'm at that point. I'm ready to go, ready to fight, ready to get over with, and finally make the walk to the octagon.
So a few changes, right, for your gym. I had James Fitzpatrick on, I'm trying to remember the exact month. It was in the summertime at some point, and he was saying that there's kind of a transitioning period there. He was kind of taking over the gym. You guys are obviously, you and your brother are still involved and train there and do some work there. But just how did that transition period kind of go there as you guys made that change and James took it over?
Everything went smoothly. There's nobody else that I would have rather hand the reins to than Fitz, and it was like one of those things that I was kind of caught in that spot where it would either be live at the gym to kind of bring things back, teaching all the classes and getting over the COVID lockdown and stuff like that, or just let somebody else take it over, and that's the direction I went, is let him take it over. And now it's like I get back to focusing solely on fighting and then doing some other things. So that's kind of been it's good for me. So I love training. I love the atmosphere that we built, and having the opportunity to teach people. But that's not the thing that I want to do. Post MMA career. So. My wife and I talked about it, and we decided to let it go. And like I said, nobody else on this planet that I'd rather hand it over to than Jim. And having my own place, it saved my career, honestly. Where I was at in 2015, 2016. I don't believe that I would have been able to continue to fight and continue to train when I was sick and didn't know it. I feel like if I was training someplace else, I would have gotten injured, and I would have sustained an injury that would have ended my career, because I didn't have the control. I wouldn't have the control somewhere else that I had at my own place. So it's that bittersweet thing. I focused on this, building this gym and this family for what was it? It was about 7 years, to see it go kind of sucked, but it's opened up time to be able to do other things, and I'm excited for the future.
And you had mentioned there about how it kind of saved your life when you were sick and dealing with all of that. I know we talked about this the last time that I interviewed you, and I know it's kind of been an open record here, but you did suffer from Lyme disease. Why don't you go ahead and just talk about that just a little bit, though, just in case there is anybody that's out there watching this interview that's never heard the story before and it's new to them. So tell everybody a little bit about how kind of you got Lyme disease and some of the struggles that you had with it.
Lyme sucks. They call it the great imitator. And it took me a while, even after I was diagnosed, it took me a while to figure out when I was bit, because I never found a tick on me. I never had the quintessential bullseye rash. But I had a period of time in, it was like mid 2013, end of May, early June 2013, where I had a series of migraines, and I don't get headaches. Like I'm not somebody that really ever suffers from headaches, let alone migraines. I had like severe nausea, and a couple of these other symptoms. And I'd gone to an ENT and to my doctor and to a neurologist. And we ran all these tests. I got tested for Lyme at the time, but I'm one of those people that tests negative. So those symptoms went away, and the doc was like, "Hey, let's keep our eye open and see if anything, kind of pops its head back up. But let's, we ran all the tests we can run. I had a MRIs and stuff like that in my head. And, we did everything. And like I said, that went away. And then it was the slow progression of things like, neuropathy from different positions. My legs would go numb, my hands would go numb, sitting in different positions, and the joint pain, and then the brain fog was pretty intense there towards the end there. But it kind of slowly crept up on me, and I attributed the symptoms that I was dealing with to being a professional fighter for 10 years at that point. So I really kind of figured that's the way that I was supposed to feel. So it took me a while to talk to my doctor about it, because it's like, hey, my knees hurt. Well, of course they fucking hurt. Like, you've banged them up. You've got partial tears in a couple different tendons and ligaments and stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, they're gonna hurt. So it took me a while, of me being stubborn to talk to my doctor about it. And when I finally did, leading up to UFC 196, my doc's like, hey, I think you got Lyme disease, So we ran a bunch of tests. Like I said, I still test negative, but because of some other, I don't know, T cell counts, stuff like that, he figured that I was still actively fighting an infection. So we gave doxycycline a shot, and he's like, if you do have Lyme disease, you're going to notice a difference in a few days. And it really was like, some of the things did take weeks to go away. At that point, every time I went up a set of stairs, I was like clinging to the handrail. I'd go down the stairs sideways because it was easier on my knees. And that took a little while to go away, but like some of the brain fog, I mean, it almost felt instant. It was like a week or so, and I didn't have the same forgetfulness that I had been dealing with, where like I would go into a room and just be like, just completely zone out and not get anything done, or not go in there, get what I needed to get. So recovery was it took a lot longer than I thought it would. It was probably about beginning of 2018. And that was still on doxycycline and really supplementing and being really diligent with my vitamins and minerals and stuff like that, and probiotics and all sorts of stuff, and the giant medicine cabinet. And it took a while, and 2018 I started to kind of feel a difference, and since then it's been on the back burner, and I'm glad to say that it's still there. So
yeah, crazy ride just getting to this point here, going through all of that. I'm glad that you're feeling a lot better now. And now I do want to get back into some of the specifics of this fight. Obviously, you're preparing for Nikolas Motta. Why don't you tell us a little bit about him, as you've been scouting him now for the last so many weeks, and what you're expecting to see out of him on a fight night, and how you think what it's going to take to get a victory on fight night?
I think to get the victory, I just have to fight my fight. I see that I've got a distinct advantage in the wrestling and on the ground. He is an aggressive, Brazilian style striker. Throws a lot of rear leg high kicks, and his lead hook is a powerful punch of his. So, it's fighting like guys can fight. And I fought better strikers. I fought guys that use their range a bit better. I fought a lot taller strikers. He is one of the very few guys that in the octagon that's going to be shorter than me. So it was a long stretch where I fought guys that were 6 foot and up. And then it's like I fought Clay Guida, which was, I think he's 5'7", And so that's like, I think the first guy in the UFC that's been shorter than me. And Nick is 5'6", so it's like, hey, I'm gonna be the tall guy in there, so I'm gonna try to use my range, and but then go to my wrestling, go to my submission skills, and yeah, keep the pressure up and force them to make a mistake and capitalize.
So when you opened this interview up, you were saying like, yeah, this is my first rodeo. I'm so used to doing this by now. It's business as usual. Then you just talked there, right, about, oh, you fought taller guys, longer guys, more polished strikers, all this stuff here. So for you, right, do you still get the excitement and nerves of everything of a fight week like you did when you were younger in your career? Or is it still just kind of like business as usual? Like I know the last time that we talked, it was on fight week too, and you were in your hotel out in Vegas just chilling, watching the Food Network. You seem so calm and relaxed, and even today too. Like a few days away from fight night, and you're so calm and collected, like you are.
I mean, yeah, it took time. This will be my 51st professional fight. So I spent a long time, and a lot of time doing this. So the early ones, particularly like the local circuit, yeah, I got super nervous, and I'd be nervous for weeks, and it was like hard to sleep, and there was a point where all of a sudden it was like, yeah, okay, we've seen a lot of stuff, so it got a lot easier. So yeah, so at this point it's like I do get nerves, before the fight. Sometimes the night before the fight, it is difficult, to sleep because you're excited. Because it's still one of those things that I don't know what's going to happen inside the cage. So there is that little bit of the unknown that you've got to deal with. So that is the exciting part. But I've been through the weight cuts so many times. I've been through the travel so many times, and have had flights canceled and this and that, where it's like earlier you're a little stressed out about it. Now it's like, whatever, like I'm still going to be there on Saturday. Like it's not going to matter. So, yeah, the experience of having dealt with some of those hiccups along the way, I feel like definitely does prepare me better for the potential, bullshit that could happen leading up to it. But it definitely does help with the nerves and and dealing with the excitement. Like I said, I've fought just about everybody. I've fought just about every skill set and style and shape and size of fighters. So at this point it doesn't matter, and it really never did matter who's standing across the octagon from me. But I mean, nowadays it's like, yeah, like unless somebody pulls a knife out, they're not going to really take me by surprise.
Well, one thing that will be a surprise will be these next few weeks and months here, because you are doing some new territory things here. You're releasing a cookbook. So tell everybody a little bit about this decision and kind of how you came up with this idea that you were going to release a cookbook, and what were some of the, as you said, struggles and difficulties of releasing something like this, because this is new territory for you to release a cookbook like this.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things where it's like I'm trying to get out of my comfort zone a little bit. The cooking and the recipe side of it's easy. It's I do it all the time. The getting all the photos together and getting all this and locking up printers and this and that. Like it's fortunately I've got a good group of guys that are working with me on it, that have taken the reins on a bunch of that stuff. But it's like I still have to try to sell it, and that's not me. So I always knew that food was going to be something that I like a bigger part of my life, beyond fighting. So like I wasn't sure how exactly that it was going to come about, whether it was going to be investing in a restaurant or a brew pub or something like that. And it was kind of like, hey man, if I go this route, it can open up the opportunities for other things down the line. but it's a way to get my foot into the door of like the cooking space. So yeah, it's been a trip, honestly. It's the worst part is dealing with like, all right, let's polish up these recipes while you're dieting for a fucking fight. So it hasn't been super fun in that aspect. But yeah, the Fighters Cookbook, thefighterscookbook.com. We started our pre-registry for it, or our pre-launch, yeah, so it's exciting. I'm really excited to get this out to people.
And the last time that we talked too, we did a whole big thing talking about all different foods that you've made and how you're this great griller. Out of all these recipes that are going to be in this cookbook, is there a favorite of yours that's going to be in it for the fans to look out for when they get the book?
Like I'd have to say I'm gonna have to be boring. There's this. My dad was always known in like the Northwest New Jersey wrestling atmosphere, right? Because every time we had a home match, he would make a beef barley soup because he wanted the wrestlers to have something that was healthy and good for them to eat, as opposed to just the crap that the normal concession stand sells. So he would always make these giant pots of this soup. So over the years, I've adapted it into a venison recipe, and it's I think it's a little bit better with venison. My dad will disagree, but it's kind of one of those family recipes, and like my kids enjoy the hell out of it. So yeah, it's definitely like one of those staples that I make a decent amount, like very, very consistently.
I'm glad you brought up venison. It's a perfect transition to this next thing I wanted to ask you about. So I work another job. I bartend and bar back at a casino here in Scranton, Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. And one of my coworkers came in the other day and goes, "Hey, try this out here." And it tasted like jerky. Well, it wasn't actually jerky. It was not venison, which was my second guess, but fox. So it was the first time I ever ate fox. And I just thought that was interesting. I know you're an outdoorsman and you hunt and you brought up venison. Have you ever eaten fox or do any recipes with something like that?
I have not had fox yet. No. It's yeah, that's a step up. It's there's a big step you take. When you go from like a vegetarian animal, right? Like a grazer, like a deer. Or an elk or something like that, into something that's a predator. I'm a big fan of black bear. I know that some people have had ones that get into some nasty stuff and they don't taste very good, but every time that I've had it, it's been delicious. But a lot of it comes down to like field care. When you take care of the animal, like right. As soon as it's down, then it becomes a piece of meat. And that's kind of the way that I look at it. Then I'm looking at it in that aspect where I'm trying to be as quick as I can in getting it, butchered and cooled and all that stuff. And so yeah, I want to try fox. I'm pretty interested in it.
Yeah, it was very good. Like I said, I taste it just like jerky. But I did want to ask you too. So you said black bear. Okay, what are some of the other things that you've eaten that may be exotic to most people?
What have I? I mean, nothing terribly crazy. I mean, I've had alligator and rattlesnake. Yeah, I mean, like it. Yeah, I guess really nothing too exotic, as you'd say. Like a. Oh.
I thought I saw somebody, and it might have even been Eric Cole, obviously your friend, our boss here at MyMMANews. I want to say that he posted something about like bison one time. Do people eat bison? Is that a thing?
Yeah, bison is awesome. I would not consider bison anywhere near the exotic meat side. They're fantastic. I actually think that the black bear that I have had tastes more similar to bison than anything else because it's got a little bit more of that irony taste to it than like a beef does. You're making me hungry as hell right now. You know, I'm like, my mouth's starting to water. But yeah, no, I love bison.
All right, I'm going to have to try all of these out here, and I'm looking forward to this cookbook when it comes out here. I did want to ask, too, with this cookbook, as we're talking now about all these different exotic meats like foxes and black bear and everything, are there these recipes in this cookbook that will find these, like, things for venison and different type of outdoors meats for people that like to hunt?
Yeah. So there's going to be obviously some upland game, you know, pheasants, and then grouse, some waterfowl and duck. Bison will be in there as well. Venison, obviously, black bear. Yeah, like nothing out of this ordinary. You know, we're not eating slugs and stuff like that. So, you know, maybe if you roll over a log and you find some grubs, we'll put something in there for it. But yeah, it's like a lot of the recipes too. Is it a lot of the protein can be subbed out for other things as well. I mean, that's the beauty of it. Like I said, if the animal and the meat is cared for, it all tastes really good. So like the being able to swap things out is clutch, because very very rarely, in my personal opinion, are you really like getting, you know, like unless you're eating like carpaccio, you know, and stuff like that, are you getting just the meat, right? So yeah, it's there's a little bit of everything in there.
And I know you told people already where they could pre-order, but just to remind them in case they missed it earlier, tell everybody where they can go right now to go ahead and pre-order the book.
Thefighterscookbook.com. You can go pre-order it. We're doing a digital copy for people, and then we're doing a soft cover and a hardcover. They wanted to go strictly digital, and I said no, because I like having a cookbook. Like I hate looking at recipes on my phone. I want to have, you know, something that is there and like that I can get stains on, and you can fold up the pages, and you know, it's gonna be there's gonna be some cool photos and stuff in there too. So it's kind of like that cross between, like, you know, there's good recipes, but there's also going to be some pretty cool photos in it. So it's a coffee table cookbook, is what I'm told.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing this when it comes out. One last thing now before you roll out here today. Go ahead, plug your social media. If you have any management, sponsors, coaches, teammates, everyone give a shout out to. Floor is yours.
You can follow me at Jim Miller _155 on Instagram. That's where I do most of my silly videos, and yeah, like that's about it. You know, thefighterscookbook.com. Check it out. Super excited to get that out, and yeah, that's about it. You know, I run a small circle. It's very tight knit. It's just me.
All right, Jim, thanks again, man, for all the time here today. I appreciate that you pulled over to the side of the road to do this interview. I know you have a lot going on here as it's fight week. So, again, thanks again. Make sure you guys check out Jim's new cookbook that's coming out. Get the pre-order in now. Also, keep going to MyMMANews, checking out our great content that comes out there. Give us a like on social media as well. Also, speaking of likes, go to the bottom, give this video a thumbs up if you liked what you saw here today, and remember to subscribe to this YouTube channel as well. We'll see you later, everybody.